Live from the Motor City, all the way to the Volunteer State. It's time for the Reckless Speculation Podcast, where we recklessly speculate the latest news in the world of sports. From college football to NASCAR, we've got you covered. And don't forget to stick around for the world-famous Bet Your Nuts, where we will give you your best bets to make the most money. Now sit back, grab your favorite drink of choice, and join Robbie Davis, Raj Mehta, Brandon Chain, and Tom Sloan. It's showtime. Good evening, everybody. That's right. It's the best time of the year, ladies and gentlemen. We just wrapped up week one of an unbelievable NFL season. Some might say it's scripted. I don't know. It was a great weekend, and it was great for me. Before we get this thing going, don't forget to check out our college kickoff that we just did. It'll be available. Actually, it should be available now. So go ahead and check that out. We did a lot of speculating, a lot of breakdown of this past weekend's college action and this upcoming week's college action. Just like what we're going to do tonight, we're going to break down some of the top matchups from this past week, including last night's unbelievable game at MetLife between the Jets and the Bills. And then we're going to kind of go over some of the top matchups in this upcoming week. I'm going to talk about my experience last Thursday at Ford Field for the Lions kickoff. So that was a lot of fun. But before we get this train on the tracks, we do want to thank our sponsors tonight. The one, the only Davis, Kessler, and Davis. Like we've said before, if you need an attorney, if you need to get your cat out of jail, whatever the case may be, these guys are the ones to call. Even the guy that was canvaed into the picture there on the far right, he'll help you out. That's for sure. And our own Robbie Davis is part of that too, so it's even better. And C&W Construction, ladies and gentlemen, I think the pictures do justice here, folks. If you're looking for any type of construction done, whether it's a new build, whether it's putting on an outdoor kitchen, which is all the rave, these guys are the ones to call. Definitely in the Nashville area, give them a call. C&W. Mr. Brandon Chain is the one, the only. So, folks, you know who to call. And again, what are we drinking, fellas? That's right, Jack. This show, Reckless Speculation, powered by Jack. Single barrel. I prefer mine with the big square cube. I'm not a big fan of it dirty, but, I might be a lightweight. So, with that being said, we're going to start with the guy that normally is late every week, Raj. Welcome to the show.
Yeah, I didn't have a choice. We just filmed another show. So I had to be on time. It sucked.
Hey, and we benefit for it, that's for sure. Brandon, Tennessee Titan Brandon. What's up, buddy?
Been a rough NFL week. We'll get into that, but yeah, just licking wounds right now.
But really rough, but NFL, man, it doesn't get any better than that. Robbie Davis, the man that can get a cat out of prison. What's up, buddy?
Is it too early to hate your fantasy team?
He said a cat out of prison.
No,
well,
you hated it after we ended the draft, so you're late.
I won with like 90 points. Another league, I had like 180, and I lost.
Ooh, I won with 101, thanks to the Jets' defense. But speaking of the Jets, oh man, that was tough. I think we've all seen this play 100 times. But if you haven't, you've been under a rock. This is the play that shook the absolute landscape of the NFL. All the hype and circumstances, Aaron Rodgers coming in, 4 plays, season's done. Just unfortunate, to say the least here. You wonder what could have been with Aaron Rodgers. The Super Bowl odds basically dropped big time. They're at like minus or plus 6,500. Just an unfortunate situation in Denver or with the Jets. Robbie, I'll start with you. What was your feeling? Because obviously we were watching this game. What was your feeling when you seen him try to walk and then end up sit on the ground? Like, what were your thoughts?
Well, to back up, like, I don't have really strong feelings one way or the other for Aaron Rodgers. He got on my nerves a little bit with the vaccine stuff, but other than that, like, I don't have a huge feeling for him one way or the other. I knew it was bad, and I'll just comment, like, the doctors that were quick on the spot and said, "Hey, yeah, that calf twitching is the torn Achilles." I was like, that's amazing they could pick that out from the football field.
I saw it on Twitter right away from a doctor.
He was like, they were right, and they were right on the spot. I think that it just kind of sucks because it's like that was Hard Knocks and it's NFL drama, and I don't know what would have happened. I mean, we'll get into this more what the Jets do, but as far as Aaron Rodgers, well, one, I learned that I'm older than Aaron Rodgers today, but I can't help but think this.
How old are you, Robbie?
I'm 39. I'm just not that much older, but I am older, and I was just thinking.
The best goal line stands 2003 USC against Cal, 1st and goal at the 9. Aaron Rodgers did not score, so yes, I know that I'm definitely older than Aaron Rodgers.
And so I mean, I think this is probably it for him. I can't imagine rehabbing this and going through it. I was just sad. I mean, like,
does he want to go out like that though?
I mean, but can you come back?
I don't think so either. Yeah,
like, I mean, Kobe did at this age, but Kobe
shot 2 free throws and made them both with a torn.
But I mean, basketball and football is a different animal. I don't know. But the thing is, Aaron Rodgers, he has no kids. He has no spouse. He has no real family that I can
competitive edge. His competitive edge will probably
I think he's coming
drive him.
But to answer your question, overall, I was just kind of sad that it happened.
Yeah, I mean, you saw him obviously with Hard Knocks. He was kind of the star of the show. He was the reason why the Lions didn't get a part 2 this season. But then, he kind of embraced the city. And I think that was the big question mark.
He wasn't obnoxious or anything there, and he really could have been. And you saw him really get in there, and he was fired up in these preseason games and practices.
Well, he took to the city.
More.
He took to the city. He showed up at games. He showed up at, plays and whatnot. And so that, I think, his presence in New York kind of established the fact that he became a New Yorker, we'll say. So I think that will drive him to push to come back. Raj, I mean, when that happened, let's face it, I think everybody around the country wrote the Jets off in this game. Oh, here comes Zach Wilson, who's the only notable reason why Zach Wilson's on the field because his mom. Let's face it. But he did what he had to do with the help of the Jets defense. Thank you. 3 picks and what ultimately turned out to be a walk-off punt return, which there may not have been a penalty that was missed in there. But what does that say about this football team? With 75 seconds in, their hopes and dreams were all but dashed. They persevere, fight on, and win this football game. What does that say about the character? Or more so, what does that say about their leader in Robert Saleh?
I think it's hard not to like and respect Saleh. One thing I don't understand about the Bills is, in all this age of running back talk, and these guys are overpaid and this and that, the Bills have not ever really locked up a good running back, if you will. at least during the Josh Allen era, and they've gone, this year with James Cook and last year Singletary. Zach Moss at times got carries at the goal line. I don't think you need much when it comes to that. So really, they show the importance of the position. And when Josh Allen throws a lot, like in this game he threw 41 times. Yeah, things don't go well. And with the Jets, it was nice to see Xavier Gibson, a undrafted free agent, featured on Hard Knocks from Stephen F. Austin. His boy Jason Brownlee, they both made the team. They're best friends. Their bond was unmistakable, whether or not edited for the show. And they both made the team. So that was really nice to see. And we already knew what we got with the Jets defense, and they showed it. Yeah. But, they took away the ground game and, against the Bengals in the divisional loss, 27-10. Allen threw 42 times, a very similar game, very choppy, in which it kind of seemed like one team knew what the other was doing. And, I don't know if the Bills looked bad per se. I know that's coming up. It's just the NFL, and that's a really tough opening game. But, after Rodgers went down, if you would have said, oh, the Jets are going to win this game at OT, the odds would not have been good.
Brandon, like Raj kind of foreshadowed there, the Bills look bad. And at times, Josh Allen made some questionable decisions at quarterback. 3 interceptions. And they weren't, it wasn't a situation where there were tips. There was just bad decisions. And he kept on with his antics of running with the ball and taking on the defender head on. That showed last year it didn't work too well for him because as the season went on, his stat line got worse and worse every week. Are we at a stage with the Bills where we've kind of seen the best of them and maybe they're on the downside of what should have been more of success up there in upstate New York?
That's a really good point, actually. I don't. If we're not there yet, I don't think we're far from it. So, this seems to be a theme with Josh Allen. Like he's a great quarterback. He's one of the elites, but the decision making and forcing the ball. Now, no discredit to Jordan Whitehead. I mean, he played his ass off, and 3 interceptions against him. That was phenomenal. But again, a lot of forced decisions and forced balls in there. I think this has kind of started preseason too. I mean, there was a lot of uproar in the camp with the Bills. There's, they try and keep it all, everything's fine. It's like a duck on water kind of deal. Everything's fine in the media and they're all hum ho. Everything's great. There's a lot of trouble in the locker room right now. And I think I even read something, somebody said somewhere there was quite an uproar after this loss in the locker room amongst the team. So they've got a few internal issues I think they need to work out. Can they do it? Yeah, I think so. I think they can overcome this adversity and get there because the talent's there. They're a great team, but I think the window is closing very quickly on this team. So they've got to do something quick. But as far as Rodgers, and it was unfortunate. I was really looking forward to seeing him and Garrett Wilson match up. I mean, like we talked about, the Jets were one position away from being Super Bowl contenders, and that was quarterback. And this was a perfect
Garrett Wilson
fit.
in the league. Shit, I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, Garrett Wilson, and he had that fantastic catch that that won the game pretty much.
Yeah,
aside
that was
from
incredible.
the punt return. So their prime, if Zach Wilson or if they bring someone in can just manage the game like an Alex Smith type guy and just not turn the ball over, I think they can win. And I think they can be competitive now. I would have definitely had figure odds with Rodgers back there. Just unfortunate. Really wanted to see that combo. He took a pay cut and everything. He embraced the city, like Raj said, and this team, and just he didn't care about the money. He's wanting to win a Super Bowl, and it showed. So it's very unfortunate, but I think he'll be back. I mean,
me too.
It's a longer recovery than an ACL, but it's his left foot. It's an easier recovery.
And it was week 1.
He doesn't have to push off of it. It's week 1. I think he'll be back. He's got a 2-year deal.
Right away.
He'll have surgery
right away.
Oh, he's having surgery right now.
Right away.
Yeah. He's having surgery right now. So he'll be back. There's no way he's going out like that. It's not in his mentality, in my opinion.
One thing I'll say about Josh Allen, and I'll come to you, Robbie. I know you want to hit on this. I love the fact that he took accountability, full accountability of it.
Mm-hmm.
I was bad. I cost the team. I don't think there's a more humble player in the NFL than Josh Allen. He's a good guy, and I really hope nothing for the best from him. But he's going to have to learn how to control some of the way he's a big quarterback. Don't get me wrong, but those defenders are bigger, and they hit hard, and they look at quarterback as targets, and they're going to bring their A game. They see you running. And you just can't take that much punishment. But Robbie, I know you wanted to hit on the Bills here. What do you got here?
Yeah, so the Bill, like as a Titans fan, the Bills that Bills team that went to the AFC Championship and lost reminds me so much of the Titans AFC Championship team that lost to the Chiefs. They had the lead, they lost. Look, that was a fluke. Like the Titans aren't that good, the Bills aren't that good. Josh Allen has led the league in turnovers the last 2 years or 2 of the last 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
He's a turnover machine. You don't win in the NFL turning the football over.
And
like
last year
that was a setup.
Mm-hmm.
Just like the Titans made the AFC Championship game. They in a weak division, like things sometimes they just set up for you, and you think they're going to be good, and they're not. This league is the league of all leagues to temper your expectations. Let's get real. I don't think the Bills are that good.
Fun stat line here. Josh Allen has more completions to the Jets than Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah. I mean, throwing 3 turnovers to the same guy. That's
how about that?
Stupid.
How about that story?
Man.
He had a clause in his contract where if he gets 3
right.
interceptions in a season, he gets a $250,000 bonus. Homeboy
Made
does
it
it
day
in
one.
week 1. That's incredible. So obviously, the story this morning was, hey, there's a guy that lives in New York City that is available per se. Do you go after him? Do you make a phone call? Rumors are that good old Woody Johnson, which I might add, did you see him in the booth with his diamond Woody pendant he was wearing? I mean, the guy's like 80 years old, but whatever. But yes, Tom Brady, folks. According to some sources, Woody Johnson has already reached out to Tom Brady, and the word on the street is he's willing to listen. Raj, I'll start with you, and let's make it quick. Do the Jets go after Tom Brady? If not Tom Brady, who do you think would fit in? Because I don't believe they believe in Zach Wilson.
You mean the guy that just got retired into the division rival Patriots Ring of Fame? No, that's the dumbest shit ever. I don't know who said that. The sources are ridiculous. It's just talking heads and fodder. As far as the Jets, I mean, insert journeyman here. If Josh McCown wasn't a quarterback coach at the Jets or wherever, you know, it's funny. I thought Mike White was serviceable. Their offensive line got him killed, and he left.
And I tweeted that last night. I'm like, I bet the Jets wish they still had money, Mike White.
Absolutely. And yeah, I mean, it's going to be scrappy from this point on. It's unfortunate, but they put all of their eggs in that basket, and he had never had an Achilles injury, but that's the NFL.
Yep, absolutely.
Sucks.
Brandon, kind of the same question. Would Tom Brady be the answer? If not, what would another option be?
I mean, I think they make the phone call to Tom Brady to entertain the idea. I don't think that that's out of their reach. But is Tom Brady coming back? I don't think so. I mean,
He's going to follow Aaron Rodgers.
well,
He's got 4 plays.
it's just not. I don't see Tom Brady coming back. Now it is a cake situation. He's got the perfect setup to come back and
It's
make
just
a
like
run.
Tampa. It's a situation
It
just
is.
like Tampa.
It's
they had
very,
the pieces
very
on both sides of the ball.
Pieces are there. So, but I don't know. I don't see it happening. As far as another option, I mean, maybe they make a trade for somebody serviceable that's backing up.
Malik Willis.
God, no. Nobody like that. Somebody that's actually played well in the NFL as a journeyman.
Complete the pass.
Able to compete. Yeah, exactly.
Carson Wentz, Colt McCoy. I mean, that's about all you got out there.
Marcus Mariota.
Can Kyler Murray play? Can he play? Is he healthy enough to play?
I think he is, and I think he's just.
But he's on the
milking
it. Still 4 games.
I think he didn't want to play, but
I think he's milking it.
I think Arizona doesn't want him to play.
Right, I'm saying Arizona. If they trade him to the Jets, that solves 2 problems.
Good.
Gets him off their books.
That's a good. Yeah, that's a good point.
I don't know how the pup rule works, but I don't think they can until game 4. But that is a good point. I did not think about that.
Yeah, it'd have to be some type of 1-year deal with a trade option or a draft pick option because they can't spend any more money counting on Aaron Rodgers coming back.
Well, they're not going to lose that first round pick, so.
Well, they're not.
Oh, yeah,
It was a late first round, so everyone's making a big deal out of it. It was a late first round. They get a guaranteed second, so it's not a huge swing.
Right.
But
I think it's a big swing. I mean, I
mean, maybe 7 picks. I mean, I guess that could be a big swing.
It's an additional, though, isn't it? Like in addition to their.
No, it was their first guaranteed if he played 70% of the time, or a guaranteed second round. So their spot. So it's not an additional.
So Robbie, what's your take on this one?
Yeah. So my understanding of the rules, if I understand this correctly, Tom Brady is a minority owner in the Raiders.
It has not taken. It either has taken an effect or it is about to take an effect.
Which I think would make it impossible for him to play for a team.
He would have to sign off.
You would be an idiot to sell a stake in the Raiders to come back and play 1 year at 45 years old if you have to sell a stake in an NFL team.
In Las Vegas.
And just create a trust and move it into a trust, and then you don't own it.
Yeah, I think it's just a Twitter conversation. Like it's not.
He would never.
If he wanted to come play, he would come play. Like he's not coming.
He's not playing anymore.
No.
Well, it's hype and circumstance. It's what drives fandoms. Let's face it. What is fan short for? Fanatics. And I'm not talking about the clothing brand, but it gets clicks. Brandon's favorite word, clickbait. Get people to these sites.
Yeah, I mean, of course, that's gonna be the first thing off it. Oh, Tom Brady's gonna come back. I mean,
well, then everyone likes to run down rabbit holes and recklessly speculate.
Yes, that's low hanging fruit for fodder.
It sounds good. It's New York City. It's a chance for Tom Brady to one up Aaron Rodgers again. So it's good for the headlines. Ultimately, I really, really think that Arizona speculation.
That's a good call, Robbie.
They could kind of hold their own with Zach Wilson until.
I did not think of that. That's a really good call.
Yeah, I mean that's the only move I think that I can see because it's like who else is available? Kyler Murray's at least an NFL starter, and and they're gonna want somebody that they can kind of plug in. So it's gonna be something to follow as the season progresses, the week progresses. They got a tough one against this team. That's a really nice segue, ladies and gentlemen. The Dallas Cowboys, who
Ironically enough, played at MetLife the night before in the monsoon. They absolutely destroyed the New York Football Giants and newly minted quarterback Danny Dimes. This was over from the gate. A block field goal, turn around, take it back for a touchdown. There was nothing that the Cowboys couldn't do wrong. This was about as good of a football game as I've seen the Cowboys play. Second largest victory in the rivalry. Just unbelievable. And you know what? The lead into this game was the Dallas is real. A lot of people were picking the Cowboys to be Super Bowl contenders. Robbie, is this real? I mean, is a Dak Prescott who had to go under anesthesia for 11 hours to get a leg tattoo? Is this a legit team that can run to the Super Bowl for the NFC?
No. Let me just before I get to the game, let me just recklessly speculate a little bit more. So the Cowboys and the Giants played in a storm, and then the next night the Jets played in that same stadium in a storm, got delayed, and that's what tore Aaron Rodgers' Achilles. Maybe you got to get some turf issues. But
did you see the rainbow that was over
yes,
New York City? Oh,
yeah.
the double rainbow. It was
I'll say-
brilliant.
Honestly, I was at a music festival. I clicked into this game on my phone. Didn't see a lot of it, but I'll say this: I think this was a game that just got out of hand, and players just said we lost it. More than there's more you can take a lot from this game. I think it was just a shit. We lost this game early on.
So you don't believe this could kind of translate into a deep run for the Cowboys?
I mean, deep run, I still think Philly and the 49ers are the best two teams in that conference. The conference is weak, though. So, yeah, Dallas is probably the third or fourth best team. So they're going to be in the playoffs. And
I
Yeah, they're
remember
going to win that
last year.
division.
I remember last year, me personally calling the NFC East the NFC least, and I ate crow 100%. I don't think this division is that bad. I think the commies are a little bit better than everybody thinks and could shock some people. But
don't you talk bad
the
about
Giants,
Kirk
the
Cousins.
Giants kind of showed who they were. So I'm not too sure about them, but I am not a Cowboy fan. Let me preface that. I was impressed. It was incredible. Brandon, again, is this a team that Mike McCarthy's the head coach, and if there's somebody that's under more scrutiny, it's him. His I don't know how he can sit down. His ass has got to be so hot on the seat. Do you believe in this team? Do you believe Dak Prescott can lead them to the promised land?
No, not at all. I've never been a believer in Dak. I'm still not a believer in Dak. I think, to Robbie's point, I think this was kind of they kind of gave up. It's first game, kind of a big rival. We've seen all these better teams just struggle first week. There's no chemistry. Robbie has said several times on another group text that we're on that these starters need to start playing more in the preseason so they don't have these stupid games, game 1 and 2.
I literally just
agree
wrote
with
that
that.
as my final thoughts, Brandon. Final thoughts. Play preseason.
There's a caveat there, though. That's
it's very
a slippery
true though,
slope.
because that's what happens.
agree.
And then you get exposed, and then all of a sudden, there's this huge, media. Oh my God, I can't believe this team. Blah, blah. The Cowboys are going to cowboy, and what that means is they may win their division, but they're going to lose in the playoffs. They're not going to win under Jerry Jones or Dak Prescott in that same sentence. So, no, I am not a believer in the Cowboys.
I think the Cowboys have the best player in the NFL right now, and it's Micah Parsons. When he was coming out to be drafted, I was all over it. I took a lot of heat on my other show because I thought the Lions absolutely needed him. They needed a game changer, somebody that the opposing teams had to say, okay, we got a plan for this guy. And he has been everything for this team. He's kind of led this defense. He's in all the time. He can pass rush. He can defend the run. He's unbelievable. Such a fun player to watch. That defense is really special. This day and age in the NFL, the tide has kind of turned a little bit more offensively. Not so long ago, you could really win. You could go win Super Bowls with the defense. That's kind of changed a little bit. Raj, do you think they can kind of ride the defensive wave with Michael Parsons kind of steering the ship and maybe make a run for a possible NFC championship?
Fuck yeah, I do. By the way, after Bosa getting paid, the only guy that I can see making more money, Aaron Donald's already been signed, is Michael Parsons.
Oh,
he is right now the most dominant player in the NFL on defense.
100%.
He can line up all over the front seven. He can cover tight ends. He's just one of those guys that is a guy that you have to game plan around him as an offensive coordinator, and there are not many left. I was shocked at especially the Dallas secondary at how well they played. Gilmore's been around, Trayvon Diggs, a Bama guy, but J-Ron Curse, Donovan Wilson, they were all outstanding. And the stat that I saw, as I could not recall, is Daniel Jones averaged 3.3 yards per carry. He averaged 1.7 yards per pass. He threw the ball 30 times for 63 yards. That's not just we let this game get away. That's dominance. And Dallas had all day. And even, Dak only threw for like 140, but he didn't have to.
Right.
They controlled the game the entire time. Field position, when they needed something, it was there. Tony Pollard was exactly who we thought he was going to be. Dennis Green reference. And Tyron Smith was back, backed up by another Trojan, Chume Edoga. But Zach Martin, they're a pretty complete team, man. And aside from McCarthy, Dan Quinn is probably the best defensive coordinator in football. Joe Witt, the secondary coach and passing game coordinator. I mean, the same position. Just big ups in the entire team, and they're absolutely a Super Bowl contender. They lost 19-12 to the Niners last year in the divisional. It was probably closer than that. They could have won the game, and the rhetoric is put it on Dak, put it on this. They may not have to. If the Niners got that far with Purdy, then Dak has to do the same or less.
Well, since we're in the go ahead, Brandon.
No, I was going to say, in Danny Dimes' defense, they did, about 3/4 into the game, they started subbing in quite a few second stringers and left his ass in there, which should not have been. So he's running for his life again, and then
Dallas.
I'm just saying. I know, but that nobody cares when you got second, third stringers in there, and you got your starting quarterback back there. Like, what the hell's going on? I didn't.
Well, and even Michael Parsons, who has a podcast, which is interesting, he took to his podcast today, and he was very vocal over the fact that the Giants kept Danny Dimes in the game. He was just I don't know what they were thinking.
You just paid him so much money. You lose him, you're in Jet situation. Right
you
now.
risk
That's why
a possible
you play
injury.
Your starters some in the preseason. They got to get reps. Like this was an ugly week one altogether.
Yeah,
altogether.
Yeah.
And it was a slap in the face, but also as a head coach in the toughest media market in the world, you can be like, it was him, the quarterback.
Oh, and he'll get the blame 100%.
For sure.
Coaches are so scared to get a player injured in the preseason Well, what if they get injured in week 1? It doesn't matter.
In 4 plays.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
there's
Right,
17
right.
weeks. Whether it's week 1, week 2, week 0, like the players.
Look, everyone knows what they're signing up for. Like,
Yeah.
Sure.
play the damn
Sure.
game. Like, let's
Absolutely.
quit bouncing around it.
So here's another transition, as so to speak, of a potential NFC Championship matchup. The 49ers flew cross country, 1 o'clock kickoff, which would have made it 9 a.m. or 10 a.m. local for San Francisco. And they didn't skip a beat. Folks, there was kind of a question mark on Brock Purdy. Would he be able to kind of follow his 8-0 start in the regular season? What would he look like? Did they take a risk by trading Trey Lance to the Cowboys? He absolutely looked better than he did last year. Mr. Irrelevant of the 2022 draft looked fantastic. And Nick Bosa, who just signed a contract, just got into camp, was slated to only play 20 to 30 snaps, played almost 50, dominating team. Robbie, Brock Purdy, he had a lot of maybe pressure coming in, being they gave him the job. It's yours. And he kind of proved why they believed in him. Do you believe that Brock Purdy can lead this team?
Yeah, so I have flip-flopped on this so much. I can't get over Kyle Shanahan blowing that 28-3 lead in the Super Bowl. But man, he's a great
Sorry,
coach.
Randall.
Yeah, sorry, Randall. But man, he's a great coach, and he can almost make he can make anyone great. And yes, I'm a buyer. I wasn't necessarily a buyer. Look, Mike Tomlin's never had a losing season. It's Pittsburgh. It's the terrible towel. That's a hard place to play. Week 1, game opener. You go in and dominate like that. That's a statement game. That was. I don't want to foreshadow what's coming up next, but that was the number 2 best performance that I saw all week from the NFL was the 49ers.
Brandon, is there reason to show a little bit of panic there in the Steel City with Kenny Pickett? The talk of the town was he's really made strides. He looked slow. He looked pretty scared back there. Now, albeit you're playing an all-world defense, which anyone would look bad, but this is a home game. This is week 1. Yeah, they're not the Steelers of old, but I think we expected a little bit more out of them. Should there be some reason to panic out there in Steel Land?
I don't think so. I think he needs a little more time. I mean, you look at some of the veterans out here that struggled this week in week 1. I mean, there's no reason to panic yet. I mean, 49ers came in guns blazing. They look great. Purdy is there for a reason. That's why we found out earlier in the season, Trey Lance was not even the number 2 quarterback.
Right.
That was the first round pick that they wasted. So it's part of the game. You take risks. No one has a crystal ball and can project how these transitions are going to happen with quarterbacks.
I had a crystal ball on Trey Lance and Zach Wilson.
I knew Trey Lance was going to be terrible as well, but very obviously we should be NFL scouts.
He's played like 12 plays.
No, I'm not giving up on him yet in Pittsburgh. I think Tomlin's a hell of a coach, one of the best in the business. Yeah. And I think give him a little time, they'll turn around. I mean, they may not, make a playoff run this year or whatever, but I think they'll build on it and, potentially grab some more key pieces next year.
Hey, Raj, we just talked about this guy. He was a 7th round pick. no one thought he would end up being possibly the greatest quarterback in the history of the game, Tom Brady. Brock Purdy, Mr. Irrelevant, 7th-round pick. Man, did he look a lot like Tom Brady in his older years, or his younger years, excuse me, this past week. Is this Tom Brady 2.0, or is that just absolutely so far-fetched you can't imagine?
Maybe negative 0.50, but yeah, I mean, very similar in terms of demeanor, intelligence, both from the West Coast, Brady from Northern California, Purdy from Arizona, I believe. But no, it also helps when you're surrounded by a team that, Brady took over for a team that was in the Super Bowl, and the Niners, obviously, just another outstanding defense, but easier said than done, I would imagine. They're both very measured, very bright. Purdy does what he has to do. And against Philly last year, they were down 7-0 once he got hurt, and they were moving the ball. And it was a different story. And in this game, the whole world knew McCaffrey's getting the ball, and they just did a great job of mixing it up, going to Ayuk and others. Just an amazing defense, especially the back seven. But, the front seven really controlled the game. But I also think Pittsburgh's offensive coordinator, Matt Canada, is an idiot. Ever since he took over, they're just a shit play calling. Najee Harris, in his first 2 years, averaged 1,100 yards and 7 TDs on the ground, 60 receptions, I believe, and 3 TDs. Out of the backfield. This game, he had 6 carries for 31 yards and 2 receptions for 2 yards. They just abandoned this shit, and they had Kenny Pickett throw 40-plus times against the best secondary in football. This is it, and it wasn't like out of reach. It was 7-0. Pickett threw a deep ball, interception. They got a field goal, 10-0, and then they did the same shit. And it was just one of those games that got away against a team that's going to capitalize and is going to shut you down. So this was more on coaching than anything, in my opinion.
Brandon, real quick, we talked about the Cowboys and what their potential is. What's the potential for the 49ers? What's their ceiling?
I mean, they could make it to the NFC Championship. I think so. I don't have their schedule pulled up, but yeah, I mean, they've got all the talent there. And with Purdy, dude is just steady and underrated and doesn't make mistakes. He's very poised. I really like his play. Like, we kept thinking it was a fluke and that he was just filling in. And now, he was named starter early this year. So no, I like what they're doing. And you got a solid defense. You got Ayuk, you got Samuel, you got McCaffrey. I mean, just a ton of weapons. So this team it's the NFL. I mean, they could go off and boat race everyone if they, get in the right rhythm. So come down to the trenches, in my opinion, on them. But I think the ceiling is Super Bowl.
Robbie.
About the Niners in Pittsburgh? Yeah.
No. What do you think the Niners ceiling is?
Ring.
I think
it's been a little skewed tonight, so nothing would shock me.
I think NFC Championship game. I still don't think they're as good as the Eagles.
Dallas.
The
49ers.
I just
and the Honolulu Blue, dude. Nobody.
I can't trust Purdy to get to the Super Bowl. I just can't.
Raj, real quick, ceiling for the Niners. I know you're
dude.
a huge fan of the 49ers. I know that.
Yeah, I love them, but the ring with that defense, it's the ring and always the ring. They're Ravens-esque. Just don't lose the game like Brad Johnson in Tampa and Flacco with the Ravens. That defense, absolutely Super Bowl.
Rob, what gives you makes you think that you can't trust Purdy? From what you've seen in the games that he's played, why
9-0 as a starter, minus the playoff game, but 9-0 as a starter.
Yeah, why can you not trust
regular
him?
season?
He got hurt in the first quarter.
I just look at him and I just don't think he's got it. I mean, there's a reason why he wasn't a Division I quarterback. There's a reason why
He was a Division I quarterback.
He went to Iowa State. Played at Iowa State.
Sorry. SEC bias. There's a reason why he wasn't in the SEC.
Neither was Tom Brady.
Robbie's wife is out of town, folks, and this is our third show. So
I mean, he went to Iowa State. Like what? I mean, Iowa State's not your first option if you're a great quarterback. There's just something about him, and I could be wrong, but I just don't see it in him.
I'll give you
I do see it. I'm
three
completely
words.
opposite
Don't
of you.
fuck up with the Niners. Don't fuck up. That's it.
Two
As a
words.
quarterback, don't fuck up.
2 words. Kyle Shanahan.
Mm-hmm.
Don't make mistakes, Raj. Absolutely. Be the field general and let your defense lead the way. And you have unbelievable offensive playmakers that can help.
Well, Tom, aren't we speaking the same language though? Tom and I are speaking the same language. Kyle Shanahan, we believe in. The quarterback, we may not necessarily believe in.
I believe in
I do too.
Brock Purdy
He's
because
smart as
Kyle
hell.
Shanahan believes in Brock Purdy.
I believe Brock
On
Purdy.
his shoulder. I mean, how many times has there been a guy with a chip on his shoulder show out? I mean,
Well, and he can be that guy that knows
very
his
intelligent, dude.
role, and that can be okay.
How
I don't
many
have
times?
to take the
Not
game
many.
on my shoulder.
He went into
think
Pittsburgh. He went
Countless
into
great
Pittsburgh
players.
and dominated. That game was over before the half.
Hey,
And a lot of it was
Pittsburgh ain't good. That's
Amon-Ra St. Brown was drafted in the 4th round. He keeps a book of every receiver drafted in front of him. That what is like 18
I
guys.
keep a book of
And
every
he has a
trial
chip
I've ever
on his
lost. That
shoulder.
doesn't mean I'm
He
a
looks at
goddamn
that every
superstar.
game.
Yeah.
You never want to get a professional athlete to have more motivation than he already needs.
Yeah.
And Brock
I
Purdy,
mean that's like, but that's saying that's just kind of like, oh well, the other people don't have motivation. Like,
you mean your
knows.
analysis where you said I just don't see it in him? He's not a Division I quarterback.
All you have to do is look at stats. I could throw some stats out there of other quarterbacks I don't have off the top of my head that are picked and drafted ahead of him that have a worse record in the last 9 starts.
Every quarterback was drafted ahead.
Peyton Manning went 1-15 his first year. Like that doesn't matter.
That's because he was first overall, and your Nets are going to
yeah.
be the shittiest team in the
Yeah,
league.
Brock Purdy went to a good team. That's Caleb Williams' dad's whole point. It's better
Brock Purdy was there for depth.
Brock
He was
Purdy
not
has
even
to not
supposed to be
fuck
there.
up, and he has not fucked up.
Yeah. In
He
9
moves
games.
the football.
I believe in him.
He throws
I
a
believe
good
in
ball.
him.
I believe in him absolutely.
Okay, that's
think-
great. That's what we're supposed to do in the show. Let's move on.
Absolutely. We're living
No, we're
the
gonna keep
name.
bashing you.
Time
Rob. That's
Nazi,
what
you're
we
not
wanna
hosting.
do.
Shut up, Rob.
Moving on to another quarterback that there was a lot of question marks, rightfully so. He dealt with some concussion issues last year. Some thought maybe he would retire. Not this guy. Wow. And some guy, some moron on this panel had him on the bench for his fantasy team. Tua Tagovailoa, 466 yards passing, 3 touchdowns, just phenomenal. Goes into the Chargers. I think exposed the Chargers for maybe who they really are. Did the Miami Dolphins become maybe the AFC favorites this year? Raj, what do you think about that?
No, as Robbie knows, the Chargers aren't LA. They were barely San Diego. That stadium was half Dolphin fans. Tua threw 46 times. They barely ran the ball, but it was just a weird game. 30 first downs each team. But in the end, Miami had dynamic playmakers, including Tyreek Hill, who wants to get 2,000 yards, and the NFL record is 1,964 yards set by Tom.
That would be Megatron.
Megatron in 2011. And what do you have, like 215? There were just more playmakers on this team. The Chargers are just horribly coached. How Brandon Staley is still employed is baffling. Before that, it was Anthony what was
Lynn.
his last? Yeah,
Who was the offensive coordinator last year for the Lions, and then he was fired by Dan Campbell.
Precisely. You can't question his judgment, but no, I mean it's I worry when Tua's throwing 46 times without much of a running game. Finesse backs and Jeff Wilson, who's hurt, and Chain and Mostert. It's just a matter of time. I hate to say it, before he gets hurt again, especially against the Jets and Bills 4 times a year, and that scares me. So, no, I don't think that. Obviously, they're without Ramsey. They've got a ton of talent on that team, but just because of injury history and whatnot, play calling, Millhouse is their coach. I don't see them being that team.
Millhouse.
Brandon, last year, Tua, I mean, he looked good, and then he got hit, and then he, missed a couple games. I don't think he really got back to his form that he was prior to the concussions. What does this team look like if, like Raj says, if they can keep him healthy? Are we looking at 40 to 50 touchdowns and maybe a Tyreek getting close to that NFL record if Tua stays healthy?
Oh, I don't take it out of question that whatsoever. Tua throws the best ball in the NFL, and
that was the one thing that people
he throws a beautiful
were gone against him. They didn't think he could make that pass.
No, he throws
the most catchable ball in the NFL. That is great.
And he's so accurate. Like he drops dimes in. Did you see that one catch by Tyreek? I mean, defender was all over him. He literally threw it over the guy's ear hole, and Tyreek never put his hands up until the ball was there, so the defender had no clue it was even there. Yeah. I mean, it's just amazing.
It's not easy to do that with a speedster either.
It's not, and when you see plays like that, and you see the anticipation and the chemistry that they have together, if he stays healthy.
Does he stay healthy though?
So I did read this crazy, and it could have been completely speculation about him taking some jujitsu and learning how to fall, like when getting hit. Now, I have no idea if there's any merit to that, but if
he needs Mahomes trainers, what he needs.
If he's halfway entertaining that, trying to do something to keep from getting another concussion. I think that would be great, but no, their offensive power is right up there with Kansas City and anybody else. So I would not count them out.
I think this team is a direct reflection of their coach, Mike McDaniel. I mean, he is so fun just to listen to, watch, and you can tell that these guys are believing in his system, and they go out and they do it. But the Chargers, maybe were they exposed that Herbert did his thing? Obviously, they put up the points. What did we learn from the Chargers this week, Robbie? I think the thought coming into this season was this was going to be the year that Justin Herbert gets over that hump. If you kind of look at the way they played, I don't know. And the fact that Miami was more represented there than their own home field, that questions if home field is really an advantage. What do you think about this year's Chargers?
Well, let me piecemeal this. So what Raj says is accurate. Look, Southern California is never a Chargers town, and LA will never be a Chargers town. Spanos is the poorest owner of the bunch. He rents space from the Rams. Like
Cronky.
The Chargers are a weird team without a fan base. They had a fan base in San Diego, kind of, but couldn't get it built. But to answer your question, what it says about the Chargers have talent, but they just ran into. So I'm gonna switch.
You guys are all wearing Chargers colors, by the way.
Yeah, I'm gonna switch this.
No, this is Honolulu blue.
I know it's
Sorry.
Honolulu.
No, I
This is
think
throwback
the
Orioles,
Chargers are
Titans
very
blue.
good. And the fact that Chargers hung into that game, I think, was impressive. I think the future is bright there, especially in that division. That division is kind of weak, I think. But Tua and those Dolphins, to me, are the Golden State Warriors of the NFL. Like,
That's a good point.
they are
Running
like,
gun.
Yeah, Tua is Steph Curry. If he can stay healthy, man, he can
Dude.
sling it and throw it accurate, and he can put it on dimes. And that's the most fun offense I've seen. Like, by far this weekend, that was the most fun offense I saw. So I hope Tua stays healthy.
Me too.
Obviously they're a Titans competitor. Well, maybe not, but they could be a Titans competitor, but probably not. But
Titans will be nowhere to be found.
but the
Jags
Chargers,
are winning our division.
the Chargers, though. I mean, that was just a hard opening opponent, and yeah, the Chargers are gonna have away fans every single game. The Titans are about to have that too. Like, it's just the combination of where you're located and your fan base.
Yeah, I mean,
Politics.
I absolutely agree. The kind of the weight of this team, the direction of this team is on the health of Tua. The defensive front from Miami made some huge stops when they had to, especially that last drive when the Chargers had an opportunity to at least go down and get the win, and they shut the door. So it's going to be fun to watch Miami. I mean, that analogy is spot on. Absolutely, the Golden State Warriors of the NFL. So moving on to my boys, the Honolulu Blue and Silver Detroit Lions kicked off the NFL season last Thursday in Kansas City. As a season ticket holder, the Lions did an event, a viewing party. So I'd say anywhere between 3,000 to 4,000 people kind of poured into Ford Field to watch the game on the big screen, which they didn't utilize. They didn't utilize the big screen, but nonetheless, it was awesome. The atmosphere was incredible. That fourth quarter, you thought the game was going on in front of you. They were chanting. 3,000 to 4,000 people chanting. This Sunday is going to be incredible. But I know the talk going into this game was Chris Jones isn't signed, and it came out right before kickoff that Kelsey wasn't going to play. Already, the asterisks, as Mike Tirico made famous after the game, came out. Well, if the Lions win, it's because of this. It was never going to be because of the Lions earned the game. But to me, this was a classic game where the Lions lose every other season. They turn the ball over with 2 and change to the best quarterback in the NFL, arguably one of the top 5 best quarterbacks in the history of the NFL. Those are games they lose. Their defense stepped up. The refs actually called a penalty on a guy that was false starting and lining up off the line of scrimmage the entire game. They finally make those calls in that last drive. And when they needed to make stops, they made stops. Aiden Hutchinson was absolutely all over the field. His hype is real. I don't think there's going to be a sophomore curse with him. You're playing against a team that 51 of those boys played in the Super Bowl and won. So irregardless to what all the pundits want to say that, well, you got to put an asterisk. No, I don't believe it. Anytime you line up number 15 on the field, Patrick Mahomes, you always are going to have the advantage. And the Lions gave up some big run plays to him, but when they needed to make a play, they made the play. Ben Johnson, kind of a slow start. I was a little disappointed with his play calling in the first half. Second half, they made the right decisions. And to me, the steal of the draft, Brian Branch gets that deflection, takes it back for a touchdown. The momentum in that game switched because it went from possibly a 2-score deficit to this game's tied, and it put the Lions back in the mix. They end up winning the game. Lions Nation showed up at Arrowhead. It was so cool to see, so cool to hear.
I've never seen that. I've watched thousands of games at Arrowhead throughout my old life, not literally, but I've never seen an opposing team have their chant being heard in Arrowhead Stadium.
And it was cool that
Dan Campbell Raiders at Arrowhead.
Yeah,
I mean, the Raiders, even then,
back in Rich Gannon days, though.
I mean, the Raiders and Chiefs go back to the old AFL days. There were times when it was almost 50-50, but I mean, this was just for a 21-20 game to hear a team from Detroit, which Michigan's not that far away from Missouri, I guess. It's all like starts with an M, middle of the country, but I've never heard that opening day, not divisional rivals. You know, they came out to support, and the Lions absolutely backed it up. And I'm just going to keep talking here quickly. Aaron Glenn was my MVP. The Lions mixed up so many things defensively from a team that was almost exclusively man for years, drafting guys like Jeff Okudah and others, and just ditching them. And you knew when they realized that they were trying to do something different. And they had, Anzalone, other linebackers that I didn't have a lot of faith in, but they had a plan, obviously, and they showed all kinds of things that I don't think anybody had ever seen. Definitely not Mahomes, who had his lowest passer rating since 2021.
And if we can remember, 2 seasons ago, Kansas City came up here to Ford Field, and Detroit gave them the fight of his career up to that point, and it took like a last-minute drive for them to pull out that game. So defensively, Detroit has historically played well against Patrick Mahomes. Brandon, I'll ask you.
How about Gardner Johnson, by the way?
CJ Johnson, wants everybody to wear a blue ski mask this week, but
that guy's a game.
But Brandon, I'll ask you. Obviously, I'm drinking the Kool-Aid. I'm eating the cornbread. I believe in this team. As an outsider, what is your expectations? What is your realistic kind of perspective of where the Lions are right now?
They got a shot, man. I really think they do. Goff's playing well. I think if he can manage the game well and not turn the ball over, defense holds up. I mean, they're going to be in these type of tough games, and it's going to come down to a turnover here or there or the last drive. I mean, they're going to be in every game, so you can't count them out. What Dan Campbell's doing over there is phenomenal. I picked the Lions to win this game. I absolutely love this matchup. We talked about it when the schedule came out, how Kansas City should be on watch. A little bit of Super Bowl hangover, on top of that. Missing Kelsey did set back a little bit, but let's not discredit what the Lions did there. Like you said, there were 51 other Super Bowl winners on that team. So
Kadarius Toney was the Lions
I still think it was a hell of a game, a hell of a win. And I think the Lions are going to be in these dogfights all year long against these tough opponents. And, maybe the chips are going to continue to fall their way, and they're going to win these games instead of lose them. So I'm looking forward to watching them. They're a fun team to watch this year.
Robbie?
So my helmet sticker for this game goes to the Ford family. They had every reason to abandon Dan Campbell, and they didn't. And they hired a guy. They believed in him. They saw what he was doing, and he has turned around this franchise. And he has made that. We saw him in Hard Knocks. We have seen him after the games. That guy can coach, and the players believe in him. And so, in a industry where people are so quick to fire people and change their minds, this generation, the Ford family, they believe in their gut and they stuck with it. And I think they've got a winner.
They certainly had benefited
Yes,
from
sir.
low expectations because when they lost, he looked like a douchebag. But now that they win, he's charming, which is the case in any sport.
Sure.
But yes, they stayed with him, and I'm sure even Tom second guessed him. I'm going to ask Tom real quick. What is the Lions' ceiling? You've asked that quite a bit, and what is their floor? Is this a team that can make the NFC Championship? Is this a team that can make the Super Bowl?
I think their ceiling right now is a home playoff win. I think they can get into to a quarterfinal maybe. I don't think they're there quite yet.
Why not?
In a sense to get to an NFC Championship, especially not a Super Bowl, because they're raw. I think they're really raw.
You got to pay your dues. I agree.
Yeah, and I'm not gonna put the cart before the horse, but you don't have Jameson Williams who's going to be out until week 7. You really your wide receiver room.
Receiver's your problem.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's
Reynolds
fairly
outstanding.
Amon-Ra is Amon-Ra. Other than that, it's it's hit or miss. I think Marvin Jones didn't have a good game, so
Josh Reynolds did. I mean,
Reynolds look good. Yeah,
he's got a good connection with Jared Goff. So realistically, I think a home playoff win is definitely a possibility.
Which would be awesome.
I would love to say this team reminds me of the 91 Lions, who started the season getting blown out of the water against Washington, who ended up playing Washington in the NFC Championship game that year. So it's very reminiscent of them. So
but this is the division is best case scenario as far as for the Lions are concerned for many, many years. Meaning that there's no outright, that right now Detroit's the favorite. I would have to think that. And that's
Packers looked pretty good.
Packers look good. Packers look really good. So I think that's going to be a dog fight in a couple weeks.
There's a lot more uncertainty with that team than there is with
discount Kirk Cousins and the Vikings.
I agree.
Oh, don't talk about Kirk Cousins. Can we talk about the Packers real quick? Just
Please.
On we've hit on this before on their quarterback farm system that they've got.
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
It is unbelievable. Jordan Love looks fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
He had the best passer rating this entire weekend.
Really?
He looked a little like Aaron Rodgers out there.
You know the second quarterback passer rating to him? Desmond Ridder.
The odds of hitting on 3 straight quarterbacks is astronomical.
Rodgers under Favre.
Is it
Brady under Bledsoe?
This is you draft a quarterback and you learn from a veteran for 2 or 3 years, and then you go out and play. This isn't throw him right in the mix immediately, and then what have you done for me lately? You suck. Like, get out of here, and then you're a journeyman the rest of your life.
Oh my God!
You build a system. Like, hey, as of right now, I'm a believer. If Jordan Love, if they even are halfway decent this year, and Jordan Love's good.
The problem, Brandon, we have to get one quarterback. We have to get one good quarterback to someone to learn under. We haven't had a good quarterback.
No, I know that. We draft these quarterbacks and try and start them immediately.
Yeah, that's. I mean, you're going to see that.
You can win with Tannehill. Do you still feel the same way?
You're going to see that with C.J. Stroud and Bryce Young. They're going to have a lot of growing pains.
They're going to struggle. They don't have any. I'm starting to really firmly believe, especially after that last game, Love looked great. I mean, like I said, he had statistically the best quarterback rating all weekend. So
I think for Love's to be successful, Aaron Jones has got to play a big role. He's got a tweaked hamstring, so
you got Dillon in there right behind him.
Dillon had 13 carries for like 19 yards, though.
Yeah, but AJ Dillon's another dude. He's solid. Like he's a solid.
He didn't fool anybody in that game, that's for sure.
But I think the Packers are going to rely a lot on their defense, and anything Love can give them is always bonus. So, but they look really good against the most overhyped team this offseason against the Bears. So I think Justin Fields is I think the four of us thought he was going to be. I
don't think it was Fields at all. If you go back and watch that game, there's
no offensive line.
The offensive line is atrocious.
Real quick, the difference between Jones and Dillon is Jones can catch the ball out of the backfield. Dillon can't.
Right.
Everyone knows what Dillon can do. 13 for 19 yards. Jones had 2 catches for 86 yards, 9 carries for 41 yards, and a TD.
No, that's a big difference there for sure. But as far as a ground game, a running game, I mean, Dillon can still do that. Now you're going to have to be creative.
Know what he's going to do when he's in the
screens game. And bubble screens and other things to get the ball out quick like that. But as far as getting 2 yards in a cloud of dust, I mean, Dillon's your guy.
Oh, for sure. So, all right, fellas, we're going to move on to, oh, baby, you know what time it is.
It's time for Bet Your Nuts.
That's right, folks. Bet Your Nuts. This is Super Bet Your Nuts, ladies and gentlemen. And this week, we're going to start with the bottom row's home team. The aforementioned San Diego, no, don't say that. Los Angeles Chargers. Going into Nissan Stadium, 1:00 kick, which is noon local, to face the Titans. 3-point favorite for Tennessee. Raj, what you got here?
The NFL is all about a coin flip. One team goes one way, the other goes the other. I'm going to take the Chargers based on their balance. Eckler, they tend to show up better on the road than at home, which is also like being on the road. So I will go with, like you said, San Diego.
Brandon. And Brant, will you be in attendance?
No, I actually have 2 tickets for sale right now. If anyone, any Charger fans wants to come to the game.
Conflict of interest.
You know, there ain't going to be any Charger fans.
This is awful. I don't even want to see it in person. I'm going to go home late night and watch the recording after I know that we lost the game. So I'm taking the Chargers.
Robbie.
Yeah, Chargers. It's gonna be a bloodbath. We're all on Chargers.
You know what? Oh, give me the Titans. I'm lone wolf in this one. I think the Titans always have a game where they look like world beaters. This is the game. Give me the Titans.
Oh boy.
Going over to the Mercedes-Benz Dome, the Packers of Green Bay going in to face the Falcons, the new look Falcons. Boy, did Bijan look real well. Packers are a 1-point favorite here in this game, which is interesting to me. That tells me Vegas is a little Robbie, who do you like in this one?
I'm going the hometown team. I'm going Atlanta.
Brandon.
Like I said, Desmond Ridder was number 2 quarterback rating last week, and he's going to be tough to beat at home if he doesn't make mistakes. But yeah, I'm going to go Falcons.
Raj.
Same. I mean, this is one of those weird games where the NFL seems to flip-flop, and Jordan Love's first road game against, really is a massively improved defense and a very strong offense that can be balanced if they want. A home dog is a team you always look at, and I'm looking at the Falcons.
Yeah, I agree. I statistically and historically, Green Bay doesn't do very well in domes. It'll be an interesting test for Jordan Love, like we were just saying. He looked really good. Now, do that 2 weeks in a row on the road and then see where we're at.
So what if Jordan Love comes in here and lights it up? Then are we believers of this Packers system?
Yes.
You might. You absolutely have to.
Yeah.
You have to.
All right, Tom,
I think the Falcons crowd's going to be there, and obviously the Packers crowd, they travel. I like the Falcons here. I think they're exciting.
Cool.
Kyle Pitts.
Sweep of
I am
ATL. Okay.
I'm banking on Kyle Pitts. I'm hoping he shows up. Give me the Falcons. Here we go, baby. This is probably the most highly anticipated game in the city of Detroit in the last, 30 years.
You say that every fucking week, dude.
Last week was the biggest win in 30 years. I will be there.
Touché.
To be fair, Raj, they've only had like 7 wins in 25 years.
Yeah, but every win is the biggest win in 30 years.
Cool your jets. We're going to hang a banner for winning in Kansas City. Robbie, who do you got in this one?
Oh, I've got Seattle.
Oh.
I'm not sure why.
Wow.
Maybe just because I want to go against you.
Brandon, please bring some sense back into this program.
Yeah, give me the lines here. I think this is an easy line here. No pun
No
intended.
such thing as an easy line in the NFL. No such thing.
I think
Agreed.
this one is.
And that's why I am taking Seattle to cover. I'm taking Detroit to win. Last year, if memory serves, it was a 48-45 game, also in Detroit.
I was at that game.
Lightning. Rashad Penny went for like 150 yards and 2 TDs. Pete Carroll, I am biased, obviously. His signed photo is right there. And it wasn't to me. I just bought it online. But no, I think this is going to be a shootout. And Detroit's riding high after winning on a Thursday night. They've had a lot of time off. Seattle is smarting from getting their ass kicked by a team they thought they were going to murder. This is the NFL. I expect a flip response. I still think Detroit wins, but I think it's going to be akin to the 48-45 game, but this time Detroit wins.
Oh, so you're going to Detroit, but you're going to Seattle to cover.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, Brandon, what did you get on this one?
I took the Lions. I think they'll win by 6 or 7.
That's dumb.
In last year, Raj, DK Metcalf was carted off to go take a shit in the locker room in the fourth quarter.
And he still had 150 yards, right?
Yes, like I was at that game, and ultimately it's the one game that kept the Lions out of the playoffs last year because Seattle had the tiebreaker. I got Detroit here.
Hawkinson went off, right? Hawkinson had like 300 yards.
And then they traded him 2 weeks later.
Hey, dude. Beautiful, dude. Buy low, sell high, dude. That was brilliant.
So I've got Detroit. I think they're going to ride the high. The crowd's going to be insane. I can't wait to be there. So give me the Lions.
You think they win by more than 7?
I think they win by I mean, between 7 and 10.
Hey, I'm just happy that I have matched Raj's picks all thus far because Raj has been the winner so far. So I'm sitting pretty.
Their offense couldn't get it together in Seattle.
Highlighting things on the Google Doc.
Here's to me, this could be the potential game of the week, folks.
Mm-hmm.
Kansas City going into Jacksonville. They're probably going to take the covers off the upper deck there at TIAF Bank Stadium. Kansas City, a 3-point favorite going in. Goldilocks, man, he looked pretty good last week. He's got Kelvin Ridley, who I think is going to be the comeback player of the year in the NFL this year. This one intrigues me. Raj, what do you think?
Kansas City. It's the NFL. There's just this knee-jerk bounce-back reaction. And Jacksonville has shown that they're not quite ready. Like, they show up, and then they don't. The balance isn't there on both sides of the ball. I think Kansas City's going to be pissed off. There's a reason why the line's only 3. I think Kansas City by a touchdown. I'm going to say 10 points, actually.
Mm-hmm. Brandon.
I got to go KC here, too. I think they bounce back. I think Kelsey is healthy this week. I think he plays. And if I could, I would stay away from the line, and I would take the over 51.5. I think it'll be a little bit higher scoring game.
Free money, boys and girls. Free money there.
But I will take Kansas City to cover the 3.
Robbie.
I think Kansas City starts 0-2. I think they got to get focused. I think Jacksonville takes this one from them. I'm going Jacksonville. I still think KC is the best team in the NFL, but I think they start 0-2 with just kind of some
Think the hangover lasts that long?
nonchalant kind of caring of playing.
I
Hey,
think
real quick, big ups to Michael, who is the manager at Buffalo Wild Wings here for decades. He said, watching you, big Vols and Titans fan.
Oh, that's awesome.
But then he said LOL after that, which I guess he's making fun of me. But a great dude, man. Great dude.
Michael.
Thanks for
Huge
watching.
Raiders fan, huge Vols fan, huge Titans fan, which also likes alcohol. So just like you two assholes.
Yeah. Tom, what do you got?
I am taking
Great guy.
Jacksonville, baby. I believe in Jacksonville. I think the fact that we haven't heard Kelsey's status at this point, I think that injury might be a little bit more.
I'll explain that. I'm keeping it under the wraps. I'm not letting my players.
Robbie's got him on his fantasy
Yeah,
team, so
I'm not
he's
letting
going to
that
grill
injury is
him.
a little bit more than what they're leading us to believe. The fact he didn't play last
Got a
week.
big divisional
we are.
matchup. I'm not letting Lanier know what's going on.
I like the Jaguars. Rawr, go, baby. Here we go. Talk about the
effects are top notch.
Talk about the test of the century for Zach Wilson. I think his mom will be in attendance. I think his mom should show up at Cowboys practice wearing a leotard.
Cheerleading for the
I want to hear a sound effect either way.
Just get Micah Parsons, maybe a little bit of rub and tug action. Sorry, folks. Can Zach Wilson go in to Jerry Jones' world and shock the world? This line to me is probably the biggest surprise of the week. Minus 3.5.
Dude. Such a trap.
Robbie,
I'm literally right now on BetMGM. I'm like, wait, what the fuck? It's only 3.5.
Robbie,
wait a minute.
Where are you heading in this one?
Says 9.5.
Bet anything that makes you uncomfortable.
Wow.
Bet the
this
Cowboys.
Is pre-Aaron Rodgers.
This is reverse psychology. Bet the Cowboys. Cowboys are going to roll. Hey. Zach Wilson sucks as a quarterback. There's no way around that. He sucks.
This line is 9.5 right now. This is pre-Aaron Rodgers injury.
Okay, hold on. Wait, hold on. Wait a second. Do we have an audible?
Yes, we do.
I mean to put it at 9.5 then.
Even 9.5.
Currently at 9.5.
Okay. Audible. Okay. Audible, 9.5.
Is there an audible? I don't know.
So we're at 9.5, not 3.5.
So, folks, it was 3.5 before production of tonight's show. Someone didn't get the memo that it jumped 6 points, so that makes sense. So disregard the minus 3.5. It's minus 9.5.
Who the hell's working our production here?
That's why we shouldn't have meetings before Achilles tears.
Who sets the agenda? I won't go there. Brandon Chain, what do you got?
You mean who had production last week and we never aired a fucking show?
That's in the vault. That's in the vault.
This would be so Cowboys to just.
I'm still taking the Cowboys, by the way. Cowboys for
dog shit.
Yeah, I as well.
Lose. This would be so Cowboys.
Side note: the same line is the Raiders at the Bills.
Hold on, wait.
Raj, you're next. So hold on.
Who are you taking?
Yeah. So this would be so Cowboys to lose this game. Typical. They start off hot. Everyone gets back in the belief. And somebody comes in with a shit quarterback and Dak Prescott throws 3 interceptions and they lose. But I don't think so this time. I'm a believer in the Cowboys. Not so fast. I think the Cowboys are going to win the game by more than 9.5. So I'm taking the Cowboys.
All right. Go for it, Raj.
Tom, thank you for reining me in like Rob when I have my favorite wine. It can get ugly, but I was saying that oddly enough, the Raiders and Bills are 9.5. The Raiders at the Bills, and I'll take the Raiders in that. but there was also an 8.5-point game, which is the Niners and Rams. So what I'm saying is we should pick all three as one and go from there.
Hey, Raj, if you come to these team meetings on Monday, we discuss these things.
Yeah. When we have meetings on Monday, it's a 3.5-point spread, but I will take Dallas no matter what.
Okay, there we go. That's what we needed.
This is a battle of two of the best defenses, the most highest scoring defense in this past week. Can Dak Prescott put up the numbers against the Jet defense to get them over 9.5? Oh, give me the Jets to cover in this one.
Oh,
I think
boy.
the Cowboys win. I think the Jets will cover. I think they get a defensive touchdown, maybe a block kick. I don't trust Zach Wilson. I trust their defense enough to keep them within that number. So give me the Jets to cover. Moving on to Sunday night. Sunday night football on NBC. The Dolphins going in to Foxborough, who showed a little bit of life this past week against the Eagles. Not quite enough. I think weather played a factor here. The Eagles kind of slept on the Patriots a little bit, so I think that was a factor. But Robbie, do you think Tua and the Finns can go into Foxborough and do what they did at the Chargers? 2.5. That number seems a little bit low, in my opinion. Who do you got in this one?
Until further notice, consider me a Tua believer. And if he's not hurt, he throws a pretty ball. They got the most weapons. Give me the points. Give me Miami any day of the week until further notice.
Brandon Shane.
Yeah, so the Patriots did look pretty good. Mac Jones looked pretty good, but not as good as Tua and Tyreek and the Dolphins. And there's not a chance in hell. I think the Dolphins roll pretty big. So give me Tua and the Dolphins.
Raj Mehta, what do you got?
Tattoo that. Sunday night football in Foxborough. It's a sucker line at 2.5. Vegas is up to something. Tyreek scares me because he's uncoverable, unguardable. But for some reason, I think the Patriots are going to show up, and there is no logic to that whatsoever. I'm not going to howl, but I imagine I'll be the only one. I will take New England.
Well, Mac Jones did have a really good week.
Against a great team.
It was his first 300-yard performance as a pro in the NFL. Played against a hell of a defense with the Eagles. Like I said, I think the Eagles may have slept on the Patriots a little bit. Jalen Hurts didn't have a really good game, and New England came to play. With that being said, I think this Dolphins offense is a little bit different. Little predictable the Eagles could have been. The running game just wasn't there. DeAndre Swift showed why the Lions cut their ways with him. So I like the Dolphins to come in here, and they're going to go big. You know, Mike McDaniel is going to want to show that he belongs in the conversation as one of the better coaches in this league, and I think they win by at least a touchdown. So, and Raj,
that's a one-dimensional team against San Diego or LA. And you're giving Belichick time to scheme against a one-dimensional team that could not run the football.
I think they have the ability to just go and throw it, and Tyreek can get it. And it's interesting you mentioned the 2.5 spread in this one, and I'll go back to last week, the Colorado game. That was 2.5, and Vegas said they didn't believe in Colorado, and look what happened. I think similar situation here. With the Patriots here. So,
Raj, quick question. Patriots, Chargers, who would you take?
Where's the game at? If it's Sunday night football in New England, I'll take the Patriots. Is it Sunday night or day?
Sunday night.
That matters to me I think there's an emotional factor in these games. It depends. Like I said, the Patriots are smarting after hanging with arguably one of the top 2 or 3 teams in the NFL. And Miami is super one-dimensional against the best coach in football. So all I know about the NFL is what I think is going to happen. I pick the opposite.
Fair enough.
The NFL is almost unbettable on. So yes,
Yeah,
right now it is. Yeah,
I
no question about it.
And nobody knows right now, even Vegas. That's why they lost $100 million.
Yeah, no doubt about that.
Game last
that's
week.
why the preseason is important. I don't know why they got rid of the preseason.
Hey,
Make the players
we'll get into that, Robbie, here in just a moment. A little bit of a foreshadow here, which will take us into our final segment. Final words. And you've mentioned it a couple times, Robbie, and we are waiting with bated breath. We want to hear your logic. Let's go.
Yeah. So if I'm the Titans owner, my stars are playing in the preseason. This week 1 was one of the ugliest week 1s I've seen in a long time because they don't play in the preseason. There's a reason why the preseason was set up this way, to get people reps and get them going. Now it's, I'm afraid to get hurt. You can't be afraid to get hurt in professional sports.
Aaron Rodgers played in the preseason.
What?
Aaron Rodgers played in that preseason game.
Yeah, he played like 4 snaps. Oh, ironically, 4 snaps.
Again.
But
maybe he would have another 4.
You need to play. You need to get time. Like, there were so many bad games. Like, as a product, the NFL week 1 was bad. It's going to get better because it always does. But
very bad.
Play in the preseason. If you're going to have the preseason, play in it. If you're not going to play in it, don't have the preseason. And that's just my final thoughts are just play your starters for a while, get some rhythm, and get ready to win on week 1.
It's about money, as you know, and Brandon says all the time, and Tom, but that was the worst product I've ever seen in a week 1 ever.
Yeah. There was at one point at the half of the 1 o'clock games, there was 8 games, and out of those 8 games, there was like 5 touchdowns in the first half. So yeah, it was ugly, no question about it. Brandon,
there were 3 1-point games.
What's your final words for tonight?
I'm gonna continue on my rant with the turf situation. That seems to be a big issue, and there is a new hybrid turf out, and actually the Titans' new stadium is going to go with that.
I think they have it here in Detroit too.
This hybrid turf is actually, it does give a lot more like real grass. You do have to water it like real grass.
Thicker, yeah.
It's thicker.
Really?
Yep, you have to water it. So if you look at that slow-mo of Rodgers in that situation, and where his cleat, typically on a grass field like that, you're gonna get some give and some giveaway from the turf where that foot is gonna slide out a little bit more. Not an AstroTurf where it's just, it's all synthetic and just grabs a hold of the cleat. So there's some merit to that. I mean, you see a lot of these injuries, freak injuries happening on just a normal play,
non-contact
AstroTurf, and it's unfortunate. I get it saves them a buck here or there. They don't have to resod the field. They're coming in. They've got like a soccer game coming in to MetLife, and they're pulling up the turf and putting in sod for the soccer game. So, there's something there. Like
they do that in Vegas too.
Yeah. So, you make billions of dollars, spend an extra, couple $100,000 and put some damn grass in. That's my final thought.
Raj.
Yeah, first of all, as an intramural professional. No, in graduate school at Cincinnati, our first year in Nippert, it was just turf. And that was just like green carpet on concrete. And if you play football, like flag football in November, that fucking hurt, man. And I came from the West Coast where there was grass. The next year they got that Gurf stuff. And it was just like literally ground up rubber tires. And that's what would be like, there wasn't much of a difference, but I felt like scientific technology didn't really advance as much as it was hyped up to be. But really, my final words were that, again, I'm going to go back to USC in that I think Zachariah Branch, people don't know about him. He is, again, a Ted Ginn, Percy Harvin type kid. And what's funny is Tyreek Hill was at the USC game Saturday night before, and he went there explicitly to see Zachariah Branch. And his words were, for once, I may not be the fastest player on the field. Zachariah returned another punt for a touchdown. The kids just got like crazy jets. Of course, Tyreek was being Tyreek. Tyreek's thicker, but they're both about 5'10". But it was just nice to see that. And NFL guys showing out again for SC. Just like proud programs like Tennessee and Michigan. When you get guys coming out, not just like Will Ferrell and Snoop Dogg, but guys like Tyreek Hill, who went out of their way to be on the USC sideline to watch that game, and that was his actual conversation. So I thought that was pretty cool. The next day goes out and has 215 yards. It's just nice to be part of the conversation once again.
Well said. And my final words are, and I'll kind of mimic what Robbie said earlier about the Lions, about the Ford family. Their belief in Dan Campbell. They also believe in Brad Holmes. Brad Holmes is a first-time general manager who, he earned every ounce of where he's been. His story is incredible to get to where he is today. His career started as an enterprise rental car, and then he kind of weaseled his way into a scouting department. It's just a cool story.
They give you the tools.
But he believed in Jahmyr Gibbs. The day after the draft, people were saying Detroit was that was the worst draft known to man. I beg to differ. All four of their rookies were impactful in this week's game. And as the season progresses, Jahmyr Gibbs, who I think is going to be the offensive rookie of the year potentially, is going to get a lot more action. And I think that all is a testament to Brad Holmes' ability to scout and believe in players, and that whole organization believing in one another. It's going to be so fun to watch. So I'm excited as a Lion fan. I'm bought in. Like I said, I've got season tickets, first time ever. So I'm excited. So it's going to be great.
Talent evaluation supreme. You start with my homeboy, Amon-Ra, in the 4th round, the biggest steal in years, in my opinion. Obviously, Hutchinson, Rodriguez, Houston, Jamison Williams, going up to Levi, dude, and Melifonwu, like just a great talent evaluator. They are a good organization.
Yes.
And you haven't been able to say that in years. I have never said that about the Raiders. It's just nice to see that type of talent evaluation, especially in this age of the bullshit combines and stuff. So big ups for the Lions. I'm a fan, man. I am.
You guys are worried about playing football. We're worried about building a brand new shiny stadium. So we'll see that here. About 10 years.
Did that here 20 years ago, but
just like the Chargers, it'll be 50-50, right?
But fellas, we did it tonight. We did 2 shows. Again, check out the college kickoff that we just recorded tonight. It's available. This is going to be a great season. Look forward to all the game action. Fellas, great show. Had a lot of fun tonight. I know we're all tired, but I got to.
If you're lucky enough, you can get the vault recordings later.
Maybe if I can figure out how to get them. But again, like, subscribe, pound that follow button, however it goes. We really appreciate it. You guys really. The more you get involved, the better our reach gets, and we appreciate it. So for me, Tom Sloan, Raj Mehta, Brandon Chain, and Robbie Davis, we are out. We'll see y'all next week.
Thanks for listening to another episode of Reckless Speculation. Don't forget to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, and YouTube, searching Reckless Speculation. Catch us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. We look forward to catching you right here next week with another exciting episode.